Today will be a review of Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Istok Bentov. This book right here. See? Welcome to day 180 until I am a YouTube millionaire. So, this book is quite good. I did fully enjoy it. Istok Bentov kind of makes me think of a combination between Terence McKenna and Nikola Tesla in terms of his scientific explanations as well as his combination of mysticism along with that. So in this book, it's very frequency signals heavy. He talks a lot about how everything in the universe is essentially just vibrating, and you and I, as well as anything else that we can perceive, is just an interference pattern. And the perfect unity is where there is no interference. Now, he claims that ultimately this will send us all back to source, and that it is equated to nothingness in a way. Talks about things like frequency entrainment, which, as I stated before in some previous videos, I wanted to integrate a lot of what was written in here into my novel series, which I have. Frequency entrainment meaning that you can actually change a frequency generator's output if you have another frequency that's proximate to it that's also being output nearby. Usually the frequencies will entrain to the higher frequency because of the overall power output of said signal. However, you can go the other way if you overcompensate with the power of the lower frequency. So say that you're sending out a frequency of 1 hertz, but it's 10 times as powerful as a frequency of 2 hertz, so 10 times the amplitude, then you can entrain the system to the 1 hertz frequency. But if it's all else being equal, the signal will entrain to the 2 hertz signal. And by the way, 1 hertz and 2 hertz are multiples of one another, so they kind of alias anyway. You don't really need to worry about it. I don't know why, but for some reason the information's not coming out of my head right now immediately, but what I can say is this is a very good book. I highly recommend it. It's not a very difficult read, considering the scientific topics that are addressed. He writes it in very plain English. Very simple, easy to understand. So, yeah. It's a lot of stuff that if you are in tune with that element of, what's the word? I guess you could call it parascience, paraphysics, or metascience, metaphysics, right? So above kind of 30,000 foot view of it all, it's quite, it'll make sense to you. And somebody recommended this book to me, I forget who it was, because I was kind of talking about the black and white, and he talks about it in this book, and being whipsawed in one direction and the other, duality, and how the evil things that are going to happen anyway, but you can shape the charge, and how, what's the word I'm looking for? Probably haven't had enough caffeine this morning, so I'm not thinking as clearly as I usually do, but I'm trying to think of how to explain this. Stalking the Wild Pendulum, in that we're trying to find a way to have nuance It's balancing on the knife's edge. That's the term I was looking for. The knife's edge, a concept that was very well understood by our founding fathers, and why our government was built the way it was. It was to be able to manage that nuance that is so difficult for human beings to grasp. Usually it's polar opposites. It's one thing or the other. So, yeah. I guess the nuance here is that the guy has a very good scientific knowledge. He says he's an idiot, but he's not. He's very, very intelligent. He's just trying to be humble, I guess. It's really a false humility, but it is what it is. There is a blend between science and quote-unquote mysticism, because as Joe Rogan fully understands and has stated recently, the difference between most scientists, astrophysicists, and theologians is that those astrophysicists require you to believe in one miracle, but theologians require you to believe in many. I think it ties in really well with this. So, overall, I would say definitely read it. Definitely read it. It is a very good book. It's going to give you a broader perspective of things. Of all the stuff that you could read out there, the millions upon millions upon millions of books, this is on a very high level. It's one of the best. I have only one book in my list of S-tier books. I wouldn't yet put this one in there, but it is one of the best books that you should read, because it's going to give you that broader perspective. That's what reading is supposed to do. It's supposed to help you connect with the author in a way that nothing else can. It's basically reaching across time and space. This guy's passed away, but I could still read his book and get a sense of who and what he was. It's a way you reach across time and space to give the guy a handshake, have a conversation with him, maybe even sit down and have a beer with him, metaphorically. And this is a guy that I would have loved to have met. Kind of like you would love to meet Jesus or Einstein or Isaac Newton. So, yeah. As my recommendation, pull it up. It is a very good book. Not very expensive either. Alright guys, that's it for today. Love y'all. Peace.